been?
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no moon.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadebonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Some very sad news this week, Kenton. We lost Brian Wilson. Not unexpected news, but before we get into Star Wars, I thought we might want to talk about probably one of the greatest songwriters of all time passing away this week.
I went to see him the last time he played Winnipeg. It was at Burton Cummings Theater, and it was Pet Sounds. It was the whole album plus hits. And Al Jardine was with him from the Beach Boys, and like one of the greatest collections of musicians probably that I've ever seen live. It was like a wall of sound. It was so great. But he was already, I mean, Brian Wilson is famous for having all kinds of troubles. And like he was not in great shape, but the music was great. And he played the keyboards and he sang, and the classic tortured genius, I guess, was his story. But I thought it was great. It was a great memory seeing that, and it's too bad. It's too bad he's not around anymore. And by the way, the John Cusack movie is quite good of his life.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that. I did
Yeah.
I think we talked about it on the podcast, the Beach Boys documentary on Disney Plus that was released, I think, last year. It was good up to a point. And it did give a lot of good information about Brian Wilson. I think really was just a case of him burning himself out. When you look at like how many songs he was churning out, and he would stay back. Like the interesting part about that in those early days is that they hired a guy. I can't remember which one of them. Not Mike Love. He was already involved. But they hired a guy, might have been Jordan, to sing, because he stayed behind and wrote the songs. And so they would go out and tour and make money touring, and then he would be there writing songs. They would come back, they would record a bunch more songs, and then they go out touring again, and he just sit there and write, and I think he just burned himself out, and then had to turn to drugs and all kinds of things. It's a very tragic story. I didn't like in the end, I didn't like the documentary because they left out a lot of information about Dennis Wilson, about the brother who passed away in the 80s, and they really didn't they briefly touched on it and then moved on. I'm like, well, then obviously the Beach Boys didn't want to talk about that, because it's like it was very obviously made in partnership with the Beach Boys. And they had some very nice shots at the end of Brian Wilson hanging on the beach with the rest of the Beach Boys, like all the living members together. They did not interview him for the documentary, I suspect, because he probably wouldn't have been coherent.
Yeah, maybe
some mental health issue, not mental health, but what do you call dementia issues, maybe some things like that were happening towards the end of his life. So,
well, I think if you watch the John Cusack movie, I can't even remember what it was called, but if you watch that, is it just the Brian Wilson story?
Well, it's something. It's called something. Okay. Look it up. Go ahead. I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I think if you watch that, it's sort of, chronicle sort of how that, all went down, sort of what happened. And I think John Cusack does a great job in the lead role.
Love and Mercy?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's it. In the late 1960s, the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson stops touring, produces Pet Sounds, and begins to lose his grip on reality. So it's about his kind of nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. I saw lots of tributes to Brian Wilson online. Lots of people doing all kinds. I saw a guy like covering Bare Naked Ladies because they have a song called Brian Wilson.
Right.
Like that's kind of stuff people are doing out there. A lot of people really will really did love his music.
I never cared for that Bare Naked Ladies song. No? And I always thought, I always got the sense like lying in bed and I thought, was it originally John Lennon? Like, was it someone else first? And then they changed it to Brian Wilson because it had the right number of syllables. Like, I just never thought it was much of a...
Yeah, John Lennon would work. I think Brian Wilson works better.
No, that's right, because it's the right number of syllables. But I always thought, I don't know. I don't buy the Bare Naked Ladies as being like holding the torch for Brian Wilson. Maybe. But I remember on the Grammys, Foster the People did a tribute to the Beach Boys, and they sounded great. They sounded like the Beach Boys. I was like, I didn't know Foster the People had this in them. Like, shocking.
So
that. No, it was really good. And I can't remember, were they playing with the Beach Boys. I can't remember, they might have actually been playing with Brian Wilson. Now that I think about it, but anyway, that's out there somewhere, and I don't think it was that long ago. It's in recent memory, anyway.
I must have seen them because I saw the Beach Boys tour in the 80s when they came. That was when they kind of designed their logo, I would say. The one that's still their logo, but that was debuted, was on that tour. And that was the first
Kokomo tour. Kokomo was it?
Yeah, when Kokomo, speaking of Tom Cruise, we were talking about Tom Cruise before the podcast. But that was the first concert I ever went to, was the Beach Boys with my aunt, and it was a lot of fun.
I believe I was at that concert? I just remember I remember hating it. Well,
we talked about this,
but because it took forever for the concert to start.
Right. Yeah.
Remember, and the Beach Boys won't come out until everybody moves 3 feet back, like that kind of stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, this is never gonna start. And then when the Beach Boys ultimately played, there were so many fans up on stage with them, I couldn't tell who the Beach Boys were at a certain point. Do you remember that? Like, why was
way up? I didn't know. I wasn't that close. I was way up in that thing, and I don't remember because I was only like 9 years old or something.
I wasn't close either, which is where the confusion came in. But I think I believe they invited I think they were invited fans on the stage, and so it was just like, it looked like We Are the World. There's so many people up there. Like, am I listening to the Beach Boys or am I listening to fans singing the Beach Boys?
Oh, that's funny.
But
let's talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I rewatched Rogue One, and you did as well. You did it right after Andor finished this week. And I agree. It makes, having watched Andor, makes Rogue One a better movie. Maybe the best movie of that era, I think.
I know. It's strangely better. Even with the things we complain about, it is still like, it is, and it's far more solid than I thought it was, but I think that's what Andor did, is it made it better.
It did, and it's like, you're right, it takes the focus off of Jyn Erso, because there is a lot of focus on her, and she does kind of swoop in and become this, like, everybody has to listen to me, and like, why would they listen to her? Like, I had a little bit of that going on, like, she, in that big scene where she's like giving the inspirational speech, and I guess they didn't, but anyway. But yeah, I think that it just kind of it makes you understand the stakes better. You understand the character more, puts more focus on Andor as a character in the movie. Otherwise, you're right. Otherwise, we just think that Jyn Erso is the main character and that's it. The dialogue is so good. That's what I noticed about this time around. Like, except for some clunky lines like Rogue One, and it's like those.
Yes.
Or the thing at the end with Princess Leia saying hope. Like, that kind of stuff is cheesy. But there's some really good dialogue, some really good, like, back and forth. K2SO is hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yes, some very fun, some much funnier lines than what I remember.
This, and I also realized, as I'm watching this movie, like, it does what the Force Awakens and others, was the Force Awakens? No, it was the one that was really a lot like the first one. But it does what the Force Awakens tried to do, which is like evoke the original films without copying the films. Like, you feel like the elements of them sneaking into the base, like there's elements of Return of the Jedi where they have to kind of get through they have to transmit the code and get into the shield, past the shield, and then go down. No Ewoks this time, but they have actually a better plan. Like, when you look at their actual plan to, like, infiltrate Scarif and to like distract everybody while they go and steal the plans, like, it's actually a really good plan. Maybe the best plan in all of Star Wars when you think about it.
Yeah, and it does, it holds together, like, sort of at the same time, you can kind of see what the writers were doing. Like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. And one of my initial complaints was it was just, then we need to go there, then we need to go there, then we need to go there. But after seeing Andor, that's less of a concern. It becomes more, once again, these are like Andor's friends now.
Yeah.
And so now we're watching them all together on a mission, and we see, and you're right, the focus is on him now. So you're far more interested in what he's doing now. And I think that then we went there was just less of a concern. Like, after you've seen Andor.
Because you kind of have a better understanding of what's been going on. And so, like, what's happening on Jeddah, after watching what happened on, I don't remember the name of the planet now, all this time. What was the big planet that had the rebellion that was put down by the troops? Where was that?
Yeah. What do you mean? Yavin, Scarif?
No, in Andor, the one in Andor that was like we thought was like France.
Oh, Gorman.
What? Gorman.
Gorman, the Gorman massacre.
After seeing what happened on Gorman, after seeing the Gorman massacre, you can see kind of what they're doing on Jeddah is just more of that, right? Like they're just moving into Jeddah, they're mining it for they're getting all the crystal. Actually, they're kind of stripping the Jedi temple of all the kyber crystal, right? They're getting basically stealing it, running in there, going in there and stealing it. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. First off, Bodhi, who's the pilot. What's the name of the actor who plays him?
Oh, I forget now.
Ahmed, something like that. I don't remember his name. He is now. You always like to make fun of the Boar Gullet.
It's pointless. The Boar Gullet.
No. Listen though, I've come to a new.
Okay, let's see.
So, because you always make fun of that, and I agree.
Yeah, I hate it.
Dumb. On the surface, it seems dumb because of Saw, and I blame Saw because Saw is like dramatic and over the top, and he exaggerates. He's prone to exaggeration, and he's trying to freak out Bodhi, the pilot, in that moment. So it's like, Bull Gullet. You don't even really know what he's saying because he's got his voice is all hoarse, and he's really like, what are we like? You can only tell from the subtitles really what he's actually saying. Boar Gullet. So he brings in this creature, Boar Gullet, and Boar Gullet is a gross little tentacled thing. Right? We have no indication that it's even like a sentient creature. Like it could be just like an animal for all we know. And it like, Boar Gullet. And he talks about like how he knows your thoughts, and he basically he's a telepathic is what I'm getting from that. Like he's got will invade your brain. But and what he says is like, what does he say in that moment where he says
it leaves you sometimes it leaves you quite insane or something like it's like something like that, or maybe it's something to that effect.
Yes, implying that he will be like mess up for life or something like that is kind of what you get. And then so immediately after that happens, and first of all, we don't know how Boar Gullet gives that information to Saw.
No, we don't know.
Like, does he have to go to Saw and go over to?
Yes, to tell him.
Transport the information, or does he just report to Saw? And by the way, it was just to confirm he wasn't lying. Bodhi wasn't lying. He was genuinely there to give the information to pass on this message from Galen or so. The only reason they did that is because Saw was so paranoid. He just didn't believe him, right? So all this is just to confirm what he already told him, which is kind of lame. So then after that, we don't see Bodhi until the guys come back till they capture Edrio Two Tubes in the gang, capture Jin and Andor and all those guys and bring them into the thing. Now there's a line in this scene that I think is kind of funny, given that we've seen Andor, 2 seasons of Andor, where they're in the jail cell and they're talking about, these guys have like Baze and Chirrut were saying this is not the first time they've been behind bars, and Andor says this is a first for me. So but we know it's not a first. Like he's been in prison, right? So I'm sure they looked at that when they made the series. So but I mean, what do you think he means by that in retrospect of this series? Like what is the first thing when he gets captured by the rebels?
Well, he's literally never been behind bars.
Right. That's I think because he was bars in that other prison. It was like just like the floor or whatever, the killer floor, right?
He's been held. He's been held a couple times anyway, but he's not been. We've never seen him like looking through bars.
Right. So that was like, this is the first for me. That's what that means. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. And at the time when I first saw the movie, I just thought that meant, he's never been in jail. That's what I thought. Right. But no, that's not what that means. And then we see Bodhi, and Bodhi is kind of looking sad. He's like,
yes.
And I think this might be more of an acting issue than because I think he's really trying. Riz Ahmed is what I want to say. I don't know why.
Is that who it is?
It feels like that's his name. I should have looked it up. He is trying. I think for the rest of the movie, he is off. And the problem is we didn't really get to know him before the movie. Before we were introduced to him, he's all panicking and he's like, ugh. So, but afterwards, he's always a little off. That's why he says Rogue One so weirdly. And that's why he's like, we can go get them. We can all, like, there's one line where he's like, we can all fit in the ship. Like, why would you say that? That's such a dumb thing to say. Like, he's just off. He's like, I think that's because of Boar Gullet. I think he's like a little weird. He says weird things. He kind of doesn't always think things through, but he's like, he's very enthusiastic. He's with them. He is like, honestly, part of the rebellion, but he's weird. And that was because of Boar Gullet.
Like, yeah, right. But the actor's name is Riz Ahmed. You were right. I
Yes.
just looked it up. And he was also in a very good HBO show called The Night of, in
Oh,
which he acts his ass off, by the way. So I always thought I think we're missing something got edited out of the film, I
okay.
think. Because he does, you're right, because I used to make fun of it and just go, he just seems kind of depressed. And he does, he seems discouraged, he seems depressed. But I mean, it's a far cry from you're gonna lose your mind or whatever, or you're gonna go, you won't have a mind left kind of thing. And it's
Right.
like, no, I mean, he can still fly a ship and he can make decisions, but you're right, they're not as thought through as they might be, but you're right. We don't know them before that well. So, I mean, how do we can't tell. We can't gauge the difference before and after the boar gullet.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was a funny.
Yeah. And how did Saw Gerrera meet the boar gullet? How did he?
I don't know.
There's so many questions about the boar gullet. And I also think it just came from them going, this is Star Wars, we need a creature.
Yes,
There's a bit of that.
Part of that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once this movie, I think that it is. There are some moments of like that are cheesy and that are kind of like all the scenes with Tarkin. I don't. The Tarkin looks bad. He looks like a CGI character basically inserted into
But to the point where I think it needs to be redone now that it's better. Like I think they should redo that, and I think
take another pass at that for sure.
that Princess Leia scene should knock us on our ass. Like we should be like, holy sh! And all I can do is look at her eyes and her mouth, and kind of go, what's not working here? Like what do I hate about this? And honestly, I think they could have corrected a lot of it just with shadows.
Sure.
And with reflections in, like, at first when you see Tarkin's reflection, it looks great. Like, but I think they decided we need to go all in on this to show people how the technology looks. But it doesn't, but by today's standard, like the last time we saw Luke, it looked really good in Book of Boba Fett. And so we know this can be done better now. Yeah. So I think, George Lucas liked going back and fixing things. So there is a template for this. Yeah. But I actually think in this case, it would improve the film.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. I think that I don't see anything wrong with that. As long as you're not changing the substance of the film or
right.
story or anything like that, go ahead and update the graphics. I guess they have the technology to do that now. Why not?
And he looks much taller in Rogue One. I don't get it. I'm confused, but also by the height.
He's referred to as Governor Tarkin at one point. What's his name says Governor Tarkin. So is a Grand Moff a governor? What is a Grand Moff? Like there's a little confusion around that.
Yeah, I actually saw an article this week that I did not read saying what did the titles mean in Star Wars, and that was like Grand Moff, like whatever, Grand Admiral Thrawn,
right?
Like everybody's got this time. It's hard to kind of know. Like we can only tell based on who orders who around,
right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's all like I think meant to evoke like Nazi military stuff anyway, right? So, but actually that made me think of something else. So in this film, the big the Death Star, this is the first like appearance so-called of the Death Star in the storyline of Star Wars. And they
except Andor if we're going chronologically.
We see the Death Star, but
yeah.
It's finished. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's pretty much done at the end of Andor because they go right into the beginning of this. So we see it in Andor. We see it in this. We see it used for the first time in this. Did they use it in Andor? I don't remember.
No, we see them. We see that Andor at the prison, he was building the stuff they're using for the Death Star. We see that at the end of season 1.
Right.
And then season 2, we just see what's his name? Ben Mendelsohn. What's his name? I can't think of his name. And Krennic, right? We see Krennic looking out of his window at the completed or soon to be completed Death Star.
Right. And so this one we see it used, and we see like Krennic's ready to blow up Jeddah, the entire planet.
Yeah.
Jeddah, just to show him, yeah, look, this will work. And then Tarkin says, no, just do the city. That's enough. Although it ends up being the city and a good like surrounding area. So,
I was confused by it, and maybe I was like, I'm kind of a dummy here because I've seen the movie 3 times, and it took me till this time. This is the fourth time now, and it took me till now to recognize that and to recognize there's different levels. And he goes, level 1, commence primary ignition or something. And I was kind of like, oh, because I thought, oh, before when I saw it, I just thought, oh, it just doesn't work as well yet, or something. Like they were trying to, yeah.
No, but he says to only do the city, and it just takes a long time. I just noticed how like long it takes for that wave to hit them. Because K2SO has all the time in the world to cruise in there, and I know they're trying to make it like by the seat of your pants, but it just doesn't feel. I didn't feel tension in that. I felt, oh, that doesn't seem realistic to me. That it's taking that long to get there, and
No.
certainly would have been enough time for Saw to get out of there. Saw just seems to give up in that moment, and say, no, all that I was fighting for is no. I'm just not going to try and get out of here. I'm just going to stay here and die. Like, what was the point of that? There was no point in Saw dying.
Well, it would be hard for him to run with that leg and with his drug addiction, his gas addiction.
The droid could pick him up and take him anyway.
Oh, I suppose that's true. Yeah, and with or without him saying okay,
Right?
like he could have just. Yeah, you're probably right.
Everyone hates him so much. Nobody wants to save Saw.
Well, it's true. He would be that would make the rest of the movie quite problematic, having him tagging along. Probably.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Although he probably could have blown himself up in that Battle of Scarif, had he been there. That might have actually been interesting. But yeah, that explosion. But also, there's an explosion later in the film where the beam from the Death Star comes down and it just clips the top of the tower.
Yeah.
The only tower on Scarif. I was sort of like, what are the odds that beam comes right down? Just clips the top.
There's a little bit of coincidence happening. There still is a bit of coincidence, like that Krennic comes back to Scarif at the same moment that the rebels are there. Like he's just happens to be there. I also noticed that Krennic does a lot of commuting all over the place. Like he's called all the way to Darth Vader's castle for like a 5-minute meeting.
Yep.
Could have been a hologram. Really could have been a hologram.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Do not need, but I guess Darth Vader wanted to make a point, and that pun, and
we did, and it's I thought Darth Vader was in the movie much more than he is, and I think part of that is because in the trailer, there's a couple scenes in the trailer where you see Darth Vader that aren't actually in the finished film.
Yeah,
and so he's not in it that much.
No, but at the same time, I felt, wow, this is more Darth Vader than I've had in so long. I felt like it was awesome. Like, again, that scene is just amazing. The final scene, it's like Darth Vader, like we've never seen him, and probably will never see him again. Like they're not going to go that hard on that character again. I think since James Earl Jones passed away, but I don't know. It was just it's really well done. Like I do think it is the best film of that era. When you look at the 3 saga films or whatever, and then there's 5 movies. This is better than Solo. I certainly think it's a better film than Solo, and I like it more. I will watch this more. I still have not gone back to the Rise of Skywalker.
No, I can't do it.
Since I think I tried to watch it once since it came on Disney Plus, and that's it. And I can't go back.
It's so revolting. Yeah. So much of it is so revolting that I can't. I tried again. I tried to watch it again not long ago, and I just couldn't do it. But this is what I say: Solo is fun. Solo is lots of fun. And if you watch Solo with a sense of humor and like he speaks Wookiee, that's funny. They have a shower together, funny. Like it moves along at a pretty good clip. Like I don't have lots of complaints about Solo. And the hubcap sound effect when the Millennium Falcon gets trashed. And it's to me, I look at that movie and I just go, oh, okay, well, it's a romp and it's fun and so be it. And what else could you do since nobody wanted anybody to play Han Solo except Harrison Ford? I'm like, that. I think that's what you had to do. Is you had to do that. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I accept that. But I agree with you. I think Rogue One is a better Star Wars film, just from beginning to end. And we've been complaining about Bor Gullet, the look of Tarkin, the look of Leia, but I can forgive that because the story is actually better than I remember it, and the space battle is way better than I remembered it. Way better, like the hammerhead pushing that's a great effect.
Yeah, and it feels like the first film. Again, that calls back to the first film. And the third. Like really, I was trying to think, is there anything from Empire Strikes Back in this? But not really. I couldn't really think of a good like part of that. But the first and third movie really are like part of this, I feel like. And so it's a lot of fun.
The pilots. the pilot banter, the Darth Vader's ship coming out of hyperspace and the other ships crashing into it.
Yep.
I was like, that's crazy. That I don't remember that at all.
Getaway, like, and again, leading up to Darth Vader, the hallway, that's incredible, and then the getaway of the ship, like just getting out of there. It's really good. Very, very good movie.
I wish Mads Mikkelsen were in it more.
Yeah,
because he's so good. And actually, I think they wasted him because he should have been an Imperial something, because he could have been Krennic actually, and probably just would have been a psychopath.
yeah.
But I do like seeing him in Star Wars. I think he could play another character, just like Andy Serkis did. I think it's possible that he could actually play. He could be Galen Erso's twin brother or something, evil brother. But I like that, and I watched this week. There's two guys on YouTube, and their channel's called Previewed. And it's like apostrophe D. So I don't know how to spell. But anyway, preview apostrophe D, previewed. And they were watching, and I have to give them credit because they had such a good line where they said, so they've watched Andor, then they watched Rogue One, then they watched A New Hope. And then that one guy said, like, after you watch Andor, you understand why everybody was so mad when Luke shut off his targeting computer. And I was like, that is such a good line. Because it's true. It's like, look, you shut off the targeting computer. Don't you realize all the people who had to carry this baton, pass it off to you? Yeah. Like, do you turn that fucking computer back on, Luke?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Good stuff. But it makes you want to watch A New Hope again. Yeah. Like it just
restarts the cycle.
Yes, it carries you in.
Watching all the movies. That's what they want you to do.
But not so far that you want to watch Rise of Skywalker.
You stop at that. It's interesting where this comes, because I think of this as being part of the third era of Star Wars, the third age, if you will, or third phase. Like, we had phase one was, of course, the original trilogy. Then we had the prequels. Now we have the sequels, and these two movies were in between, Solo and Rogue One. And now I think of phase four as being the Mandalorian era and the streaming area, because they haven't released any movies since Rise of Skywalker, and everything's been on Disney Plus. So that includes your Mandalorian, your Obi-Wan, your what else has there been? Your Acolyte, and all those ones. And of course, what was the other one we just watched? With Jude Law.
Skeleton Crew. Yeah.
Right. There's been a lot, actually. When you think about it, there's
been a lot
series and Andor, right? So it's like, that's the fourth era, and now I think we're gonna start going back into the theaters with the Mandalorian movie next year. I think next year. So I think that will be the fifth era of Star Wars. But this one, like, it's in the third, but it ties into the first. So this is meant to kind of bring you back to the first and start watching it again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to rewatch all of them at this time, but it does kind of make me want to watch the first one again.
No, I think I'd watch A New Hope. I will probably watch A New Hope again, but I try not to overdo it. Like, you can only watch it so much before you have burnout, and I find, like, at this point, every 5 years kind of thing, like, just to go like, oh yeah, like, it's still if you wait 5 years and what you're seeing is like pretty exciting. Like, if I watch it every year, I kind of, like, it loses the freshness at a certain point. So it's good. It's good to sort of save it up as you watch it. But I liked all of the streaming shows to one degree or another, but not The Acolyte. And so, and this week you sent me the link to tell me. Go ahead.
Oh, Pablo, our friend Pablo has a new visual guide out, and it's for The Acolyte. So it's the same thing he's done for almost, I think, pretty much every other movie and maybe series. I don't know if he's continuing. I didn't realize he was still doing them for the streaming series. Like, certainly there was a Mandalorian one, but I don't know if he did one for Obi-Wan or any of those other ones. But it's a visual guide, so it's all the costumes, all the props, all the things about it, and he gets to take all these things and name them and explain what they are and write all these descriptions and put it together. And so it's I thought you might enjoy that.
I want to go to McNally Robinson just to see, like, how there might be more Pablo books that we missed, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So we should check that out.
Told me when he was here, he told me it's not, like, has nothing to do with Lucasfilm. He works for Lucasfilm, but this is something he does as a writer for the publisher. It's DK Publishing, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a side gig for him.
Right. But he can use the trademark and everything else. Like
Because
he's
he worked on it, right. Exactly.
right. And the character.
Licensed product from Star Wars, so they're okay with it as well, right?
Yeah. By the way, did he do a visual guide for for Revenge of the Sith? And if he did, is he in it? With the guy with the cape that he plays for 1 second in the film.
I don't think they were doing visual guides back then.
That's something else to check.
He was on the website back then, right? He was doing the Star Wars website and posting blog posts and stuff. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. This week, it's funny. I was talking about doing my other podcast, and when I got to record at the studio with Super Pulp Science this week, the first thing one of the guys there said is, "Dan, let's watch this, or come watch this." And he shows me a trailer that is. I immediately recognized the music being from Spaceballs. And so the whole thing, and the trailer is pretty straightforward. It's just text on the screen, right? It's just making fun of the crawl. But I
thought that there's jokes in the crawl.
Right.
Some of them are better than others.
There's no point in us watching the thing together on a podcast because nobody will be able to see it or hear anything because it's just music. But the music was immediately recognizable to me as Spaceballs music. And so the announcement, of course, being that we have a Spaceballs 2 coming 2027, so 2 years. And at the very end, there's a message from Mel Brooks, which was very nice. I'm like, hey, he's still alive, yay! So
and he looks good.
He looks great, yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
But how you feel about the Spaceballs sequel coming out?
Well, I thought he had the best line in the thing where he goes, "We asked people, what do you want to see? And we decided to give them this instead." I was like, that is a great line. Like, basically, it's like one of those Kathy Kennedy, like, behind the scenes thing. He's sitting in the chair and you're like, that's great. That is so funny because she could have said that many times. She was sitting there.
You talked about jokes.
Yeah, good joke. But yesterday, this week, they also announced Rick Moranis is returning to Spaceballs, his first movie in 30 years. The other original actors are coming back. Bill Pullman and his son in real life is playing his son in a film. So that's going to be good. We've lost John Candy, Joan Rivers. I'm trying to think who else.
Daphne Zuniga.
Who's that?
He plays the princess.
She's back.
What?
I think she's back.
Yeah, you just hadn't mentioned her, but
I forgot her name. That's why I was trying to.
For some reason, I will always remember her name because I love Spaceballs. I saw Spaceballs in the theater. I remember being very excited to see it. I loved Mel Brooks, and I kind of I love Star Wars, so this was like the best of both worlds, and it's such a good movie, and I've seen it so many times. It's a great film. I love Spaceballs.
You know, a friend of mine texted me this week and he goes, they're making another Spaceballs. He's like, there's no this, there's no this, there's no that. Like, how are they ever going to do this? And then he goes, text me again. He goes, wait a sec. Rick Moranis is coming back. Wait a sec. Mel Brooks is coming. Wait a sec. And so it was like, oh, okay, maybe this is actually going to be good. Oh, they're releasing it into a theater. Oh, like it just started getting better and better as the announcements came. Because I was like, I don't want to watch Josh Gad star in a movie by himself, and you're like, I guess he is in it, but he's going to play John Candy's barf son, right?
Right, yeah, his character would have passed away. Did you watch the History of the World Part 3, whatever the series was they did?
I did not. I know it exists.
Yeah,
but I just didn't.
I started watching it and immediately I did not like it, so I turned it off. It did not feel like Mel Brooks. Just from this trailer, it feels like Mel Brooks because Mel Brooks is in it, but also because of the jokes. I thought the jokes were funny. You didn't like some of those jokes in the crawl?
Well, some were funny, and then it was like they swung at everything. Let's put it that way. As the thing goes by.
That's what they do. That's what Mel Brooks does. Like every single thing. Like, so there's been this many Star Wars movies. There's been this many Marvel movies, this movies, making fun of the franchise of it, making fun of Hollywood, basically. That's what he does. And that's like, I think perfect Mel Brooks. He just does such a good job of that.
I thought they could have easily done a parody of the Force Awakens trailer, which was quick. It was short. And then you had Han Solo going, Chewie, we're home. And I thought what I would do is I get Mel Brooks in the yogurt gear to go, whatever. So and so we're home. And that could have just been a fall on your ass. Maybe they'll still do that. It might still be
That's the
possible.
thing. Like, there's lots for them to pull from in the second one. They really like. That's the thing I don't like about. I like about Spaceballs is it's more of a parody of the concept than it is a direct. There are elements of there. Obviously, they have like the desert scene and the lightsaber stuff, but like the whole thing is just like making fun of the idea of Star Wars, right? And so it's not just like a flat out like parody of it,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what I like about it. It's amazing.
Some of it, yeah, I guess Dark Helmet. I mean, I don't. And the other question is, how much does George Lucas like or not like Spaceballs? I don't have a clue. Yeah, I don't think. Did he ever talk about it?
He liked it. I think I've heard somewhere that he liked it.
I mean, it's not his franchise anymore,
No,
but it's there's a certain in copyright law, the parodies covered, but then there's things that aren't covered, including like if there's confusion, that's bad. I don't think there's any confusion.
no. I don't think so. And I think what I was trying to say is that Spaceballs brings so much original ideas, so many original ideas to the table here. Like it creates its own universe that like President Scroob and Spaceball City, and there's like things that aren't part of Star Wars that you would not necessarily recognize. The freaking transforming Spaceball 1 into the maid, what's her name again? Robo Maid? I don't know. Oh, it's been too
Joan
long.
Rivers.
No, not Joan Rivers, the big one at the end. When they turn, then they make fun of Planet of the Apes at the end. Like there's little things like that in there, and
Right, I forgot about that. I haven't seen it in many years.
yeah, it's a great film. I saw that Tim Russ, who is best known as Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager, he has a famous scene in Spaceballs where it's a pretty racist joke, but it was the 80s, and they have these guys combing the desert. Do you remember combing the desert? It's mostly, how you guys doing? You guys finding anything? He's like, we haven't found anything over here, and they've got a giant comb. Haha, get it? Combing the desert. And so then they go, what about you guys? They pan over to these two black guys, and they've got a hair pick, or what do you call those? Like the kind stereotypically black men would put in their hairs. In the 70s was the style. And then they cut to Tim Russ, and he's like, we ain't found shit. And he's just like, it's very kind of a stereotypical black person thing. And
welcome to Mel Brooks humor.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, if that's bad, watch Blazing Saddles. That is the worst.
Except it's proving a point. It's problematic for a younger generation, but its ultimate point it's proving is not problematic. It's the how it gets there that I think people would find shocking today.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm very excited about Spaceballs too. I don't know. They could take this in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, well, look, it's going to be a theatrical release, so I'm kind of confident that there's a budget. Is that
where we are now? Is that how we gauge these things? Like if
a little,
yeah,
not so much with Star Wars, where they're going to back up a money truck and off to the races, but for certain things, this could be a cheap knockoff.
Like, I mean, it's a good sign, that it's a comedy and they're gonna release it. It's like I'm optimistic about the Naked Gun movie coming out later this summer. That's the first big comedy to me that's come out in a while in theaters. Because generally don't really release comedies in theaters these days, right? It's just straight to Amazon Prime or where whoever made it puts it right on their streaming service. So yeah, that's good. It'll be good to see that in the theater. But I'm just excited to see Mel Brooks again, honestly. That's more than anything. That's what I'm most excited about, is to see a Mel Brooks movie. Is he directing it?
I don't know that he is. I mean, I think at his age, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be surprising. But yeah, I'm just excited to see him. I'm sure certainly he's gonna be part of the writing of it and the story and that kind of stuff.
He will be playing Yogurt again, they said. So but Yogurt, like he doesn't need lots of scenes, probably.
And he's got the gold makeup on, so he probably look exactly the same as he did.
Yeah, exactly. And you can probably shoot it all in one day.
Like one of the best lines in Spaceballs is when Yogurt refers to Spaceballs 2, the search for more money.
Yeah, that's right.
You think that's what they're gonna call it? Spaceballs 2?
Well, I've thought that's a no-brainer that you call it that. Right. But maybe not.
No? Oh, come on.
I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, it's like we have nothing right now. It's just a teaser, basically. We have no trailer. We have nothing to really see about it. But I am excited. 2 years from now, 2027, we'll see what state the theaters are in by then.
Oh my God! Yeah, maybe it won't be in a theater.
It might only be open on weekends or something like that. I don't know. But I'm gonna try and go out to the theater more this summer, Kenton. That's something I'm gonna try and do. So I'll report back.
And see what? I need some movies to see.
Okay, well, let's see. Before we go, let's take a look at what's on the Cineplex app, which I do not like. I gotta say,
Oh, it's horrible.
is organized. Like, it just shoves like what's playing right now in your face, and I'm like, how do I find out? I would love to have like a calendar of releases. It doesn't organize like that. Oh, this week it's How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, which does not look good.
It's not for me.
Ballerina, a John Wick spinoff. Oh,
Getting so reviews.
Materialists. That is a rom-com. That's an unusual rom-com to be in theaters, but it's Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, and Dakota Johnson. Is that who that is? So with those three in it, they're gonna try and release that in the theater. The Phoenician Scheme. I don't do Wes Anderson. I don't like Wes.
Well, I will see it, but I'm not going to the theater to see it.
No, you're right. You're right. That's not the kind of movie you would see in the theater.
Yeah, I'm not going to race there.
So about that. What about The Life of Chuck? They shot that here, didn't they?
What is that? Chucky the doll?
No, The Life of Chuck. It stars Tom Hiddleston. Mark Hamill is in it. Speaking of Star Wars, Mark Hamill.
Oh, that one.
When Mark Hamill came here,
Yeah,
he was working on. He plays some kind of old man guy. He's an old man.
I will see that, but once again, do I need to rush to the theater? Probably not.
Mission Impossible. I can confirm, not worth seeing in the theater. You can wait to get that streaming. Lilo and Stitch. No, thank you. Final Destination Bloodlines. No, thank you. The Ritual. What is The Ritual?
It's probably horror.
Yeah, but it's Al Pacino. Is that Al Pacino?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Al Pacino. Dan Stevens. Who's Dan Stevens? Al Pacino. So we got Al Pacino doing The Ritual. You Must Have Faith. It's some kind of like looks like an Exorcist rip off.
Oh boy.
We got Robert De Niro doing a series on Netflix. Have you seen that one?
Let me think for a second. What's it called?
I don't remember. It's some kind of thing about some kind of day one or some kind of disaster. Something happens, and he's not the president, like a guy who's in charge of something.
Yeah, no, I did not. I saw the trailer for that, but I have not seen that. No.
But these are what these guys are doing now. Anyway, I don't know what that was.
Well, that's Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro and Pedro Pascal's names have come up, and I think they will do anything at this point. I think it's like Pedro Pascal has never turned down a role. He'll do it. Sign him up.
And yet somehow he's still got a good, he's got a good track record.
He's a good actor.
Like he keeps busy, but he always picks good things. And I don't know what's he been in that's been bad. I can't think of anything offhand.
Well, The Last of Us season 2.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
But he's good in it. But I'm not going to say any more. I will not say anything else. But I mean, he's good. He is a good actor, and I go along with that 100% of the time. I like Pedro Pascal, but man, overexposure on that guy, just a little bit.
Yeah, and Robert De Niro as well. I agree. Robert De Niro has done too much.
Because I mean, his early roles are iconic. And now I remember the first time he did like a kiddie comedy or something, and you're like, what? Or he did Bullwinkle or like things like that, and you're like, and in Bullwinkle he does a "You Talking to Me" parody of Taxi Driver, and you're like, what am I watching? Why am I watching this? It's horrible. And so when you see him do stuff like that, it's depressing because you want him to only be in top-notch, high-quality things. But I guess those don't come around all the time.
No. Although imagine Robert De Niro probably gets good offers. But that Netflix money is too good to turn down, Kenton. Netflix.
Oh, I know.
Taking over. Okay, I think that's about it. Anything else you want to talk about Star Wars related today?
No, I think that's it for today.
Yeah? All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vademacher.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Now I am the master.
I'm taking an awful risk there.